For example, for me personally, being a Wikimedian has contributed a lot to my professional development. And so I look forward to other avenues where um, others within the sharers we get to know are going to talk about what has happened within their spaces as well. Next slide. Today's session basically is going to be on unlocking potential, the impact of Wikimedia contributions on professional development. Like I was saying in my earlier introduction, for example, one of the things that Wikimedia did for me is to help me be able to become vocal like this, to be able to present to people I haven't met before and people I have barely interacted with. So through Wikipedia training and contributions, I'm able to do something like this. Next slide. So today we have 4 speakers from 4 diverse communities, or I mean 3 communities. We have Gorana Gomirac, who is the Let's Connect member or liaison for the C region. We have also from Wikimedia Serbia, we have Bobby Shabangu, president of the Wikimedia South Africa. We have Ingrid Thomson, board member of Wikimedia South Africa. And we have José Alejandro Reyes, education program coordinator of Wikimedia Mexico. Next slide. So we're going to have full 120 minutes for this learning clinic. There's going to be an introduction, which is what I'm doing now. And then we will have each sharer showcase what they want to talk about in 15 minutes each. And then there'll be Q&A, and then there'll be a few retro board activities that we'll share along the next slide. So as you all know, trust and safety is important to us as Wikimedians. And so for anybody who has any issues with trust and safety, there are going to be Let's Connect members with LC attached to their name. So you can reach out to them in the inbox for anything trust and safety related, and they will be able to help you out with that. Please feel free to also, if you have any questions or comments, you can put them in the chat as well. Next slide. So as you all know, Let's Connect is a peer learning program that is run jointly by the Wikimedia Foundation and the Wikimedia community. So we have as a community and a foundation-led initiative where we try to learn from each other as Wikimedians. So peer learning is at the heart of everything that we do. That is why we have 4 sharers from 3 different communities going to share their learning over the period of working on with that. We also try to make everybody feel as comfortable as possible. Feel free to ask any questions. There are no right or wrong answers. We are all here to learn and be the best Wikimedia that we can be. And we all have an opportunity to learn from each other as a growing Wikimedian. One of the basic things as Wikimedians is the power of collaborative sharing. So feel free to ask us every question that you would want to ask as much as possible. Next slide. So at this point, I bring in Silesh and Giovanna to come and introduce this topic, because there's going to be another learning clinic that we will seek to look at another time zone for this particular subject as well. So Silesh, Giovanna, can you?
Thanks, Justice. Hi, everyone. My name is Sailesh Patnaik. I'm a senior program officer with the community programs team at the Wikimedia Foundation. And I'm very excited to be here today as this topic is very close to my heart as well. And I really appreciate the support that we have been provided by the Let's Connect team and for all of you who are here today. Our speakers and also our participants who are here to learn together and also create something out of it. This is our first station of the series of stations that we have planned for. What are we expecting in this session? So professional development is something that we all are looking for. And even when I joined the movement as a 15-year-old, a student, and being part of this community, contributing to Wikimedia projects, helped me a lot to find different ways that help me enhance my skills through these contributions and build a network for me. And it has helped me a lot with the professional development as well, for my own professional development. So today we want to provide participants with insights into how contribution to Wikimedia projects can impact on their professional development opportunities, to understand and to see what are the pathways. We also want to showcase different strategies and diverse strategies that our community members or affiliate members are using uh, to provide this professional growth to our community members. And with this, I would like to introduce our speakers a bit. Thanks, José, for doing that. So we will have Alejandro Reyes. He has collaborated in the education departments of different museums. Likewise, he has experience as an evaluator of curricular plans and programs. He has participated as an adjunct teacher in classes focused on material and intangible cultural heritage and approaches to cyberculture issues. He's been a Wikimedian and a Wikimedia Mexico volunteer since 2015. And he's a believer in free knowledge and education as the key to a better future. Alejandro is representing us from Wikimedia Mexico. We have two representatives from Wikimedia South Africa. We will have Bobby Shabangu, who is a South African Wikimedian and the president of Wikimedia South Africa. Since he began editing in 2013, he has organized numerous community and partnership outreach activities to champion African languages and content on Wiki, including edit workshops and meetups. Now the lead organizer of Wiki Indaba 2024. Additionally, he is the co-founder of the de facto chair of Wiki Indaba steering committee. So if you have any questions for Wiki Indaba other than the professional development thing, you can also reach out to Bobby. I'm going to pass my mic to Giovanna to introduce herself and our rest of the speakers.
Thank you, Sailesh. So I will just be following up with the other two speakers that we have, and then I will introduce myself, if that's okay. So speaking about Wikimedia South Africa, we have Ingrid Thomson. She's a South African Wikimedian and currently serves as the Wikimedia South African board. She began editing in 2014, but it was only with the One Live on Red campaign that she became more actively involved and started to drive the campaign in South Africa. She has also accomplished numerous outreach and advocacy activities with the Library and Information Association of South Africa and participated in sessions with AFLIA, the African Library and Information Associations institutions around One Live on Ref. And I also want to introduce Gorana. She has been a GLAM manager in Serbia since 2020, coordinating numerous activities and projects, both locally and globally. She has accomplished projects like the Wikipedia in Residence and the One Live on Ref campaign. We're working with several cultural institutions that she will be talking about today. Since March last year, she has been also part of the Let's Connect working group, as it was already mentioned. And it is great to see all of these examples of professional development connected to our speakers, but also hearing from you, Sailesh, and from Justice. And I want to introduce myself and say a little bit about that as well from my part, from my perspective. So I am a program officer for the Cultural Heritage team here at the Wikimedia Foundation. And I started actually to work in this area back in 2018. I started to act as a Wikimedian resident, as some of you here as well. And before that, I was part of this education program at the college that I studied at the time. I studied journalism. So it's very, since they started, like, even when I was acting as a volunteer, it also always had like some connection to the work that I was doing in my professional life. So I think, this is, we are bringing several examples of this here. And I want to also make some kind of like general intro to the actual clinic here. And so I want to say that the Wikimedia movement, even though it's collaborative in its core, it has a lot of space for development and growth, right? Especially those connected with professional development via initiatives that aim to enhance our community organizing and thematics, such as the cultural heritage ones. We do have examples here, as I mentioned, of Wikimedians in residence. We have people working with cultural heritage institutions. Sitting in those cultural heritage institutions, we have examples of people in the chapters and affiliates working with cultural heritage. And the refinement of community organizing and initiatives like this with external partners, they really rely on professional development tactics. And with clinic today, we hope everyone here will gain a better understanding on how contributions to the Wikimedia project can lead to professional growth opportunities, and leave here better equipped with practical knowledge and best practices for leveraging Wikimedia projects to advance their own professional growth and that of their communities and partners. And I hope that this was a good enough introduction to our session today. Who is the one that I am passing the mic now? I think it is Chino for the icebreaker.
Chino.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. So Chino, take us away.
Thank you, dear sharers, for the wonderful introduction, and Justice for the session introduction. And okay, just to do energy check, vibe check, as we call it, let's break the ice. Okay, as you can see, the session is all about the professional developments, unlocking the potentials. So we have a question on the Easy Retro board, which my colleagues will be sharing the link in the chat. The first question on the board is our icebreaker question. What are the good examples of professional development in the Wikimedia movement? Or if you want to share something outside the movement, also you have observed some platform which has helped you in some professional means, you can share that. And you can drop the response in chat as well if the link is not working, or if you're joining from some mobile device or something. And those who are flexible using the link, just click on the link and you will be landing into a Easy Retro board. You can see a plus sign below the first column, and you can add your responses there. I'll also paste the question in the chat so that it will be easier for all of us to follow. So here goes the icebreaker question. Ah, Sailesh, I see you breaking the ice. Well, this portion of the session is not only limited to chats or the board. If anyone wants to volunteer by unmuting yourself and share something with this, that would be wonderful also. We have 4 minutes for this. If anybody wants to share anything by unmuting themselves, that would be lovely. Well, I see some responses in the board. The first one goes certification for completing a training/workshop that can be added to a professional portfolio. Okay, it would be great if you can add some examples as well. Or maybe how that has been helpful to you. Somebody has written online community organizing. I'm just aborting this response. Courses offered on Wikilearn. Nice. Groups of students in art studies, editing and translating articles on art movements under supervision of lecturer. Next one. Oral presentations in person and over Zoom. Public speaking opportunities at academic events. It's so good to see all of the out of our academic courses things written here. Certification of completing a training. Okay, this. Organizer lab and reading Wikimedia in the classroom certifications. Okay. Multilingual interpretation support. CSS and HTML coding. Well, we do learn scripting languages in the moment as well. Advanced technical training with the certification of Open Refine. Okay.
Sorry, just for those who are responding to the other questions, we will get back to that. For the icebreaker, let's only focus on the first question. Thanks.
All right, I see some responses in the chat as well. Justice has written, Wikimedia movement built my confidence in presentations and also creating my own presentations. Okay, adding storytelling to my presentation was learned through contributing Wikimedia. Adding +1 to you, Justice. Okay, just for the time check, we are bang on time with the icebreaker. Thank you everyone who participated in the icebreaker activity. And just for the announcement following up, Shailesh, we will be using the same Easy Retro board while moving ahead with the activities in the next slots. Thank you, everyone. Back to you, Justice.
So we move on to our first speaker, Gorana, from the Wikimedia Serbia, and then let's connect as well.
Thank you, Justice, and thank you all for coming to this learning clinic today. It's really a great pleasure to be with you today. As you maybe know me from previous learning clinics, I'm Gorana Gomirac. I'm a liaison for the CE region at Let's Connect working group, but today I'm here as a GLAM manager at Wikimedia Serbia. Today, I will tell you a little bit more about one project that we have for 10 years now. It's called Wiki Librarian. As you may probably know, it's a connection of Wikimedia world and libraries, but let me tell you how we actually got to the point where this project is functioning on its own. It gathers so many libraries, so many librarians are familiar with editing Wikipedia now and Wikimedia movement in general, but also how it all started. So we can go to the next slide, please. So what is Wiki Librarian? The whole idea was, let's say, created. It started in 2013 when one of the board members and founders of Wikimedia Serbia, José, was on some conference with one of the librarians, Alejandro Popovic, and they connected and they were thinking about how to connect these two worlds. Remember, it was in 2013, so like 10 years ago, and it was not that popular to involve more technology than it is today. So 10 years ago, they were thinking how to connect that rich environment, working environment of the library, that great source of the content and the information, and Wikimedia project as a great projects or a way to distribute that knowledge. So it all started with the idea how to connect these two worlds. The project officially started in 2015, so this is the 9th year of realization of that project. And I can say that it really improved, as we are talking about today, professional development of many librarians in Serbia. So there was a big gap between librarians and digital literacy. It is still today happening. I'm a GLAM manager at Wikimedia Serbia. We have many new cooperations during the year, and it's still difficult to bring Wikimedia movement into their space, into their world, because there is still that fear being present that if something is online, it's less valuable, that the value of that decrease if something is available to people. So we had to fight with that. We had to fight with the gap. On the one side, we had technology. On the other side, we had librarians who always prefer books, papers, old way of doing things. So we had to make that work. I have linked here in the slides one article, Wiki Librarian, a project to train librarians and students to work with Wikipedia. This article was created, I think, 4 years ago. It was created by the founders of the project. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the project and how it is working today, you can take a look at this article, but I will tell you the most important things about how we succeeded into implementing this project into many libraries. Next slide, please. So when we started implementing this project, there was like a big fear of Wikipedia. There is still that stigma around Wikipedia that it is not being reliable enough, that if we can all edit Wikipedia, then who knows what is written there, and just it was different 10 years ago. We are improving that, thankfully, but it was really difficult to implement that. One more thing to add, it was more difficult because there had to edit Wikipedia in source, which was a big trouble. And today is much more easier to edit in Visual Editor, but back then we had to do that in Wikisource. So we had to present them what will they get from this project, that it will not be only editing Wikipedia and their making free knowledge more available and being part of one big global movement. We had to tell them that all other skills that they would be able to get. So we had to show them that it is very important today, in today's digital age, that they keep up to date with technology, and editing Wikipedia really helped them. We had to be aware that, for example, one of the founders of the project, Alexandra Popovic, she is retired now. So she had a lot of experience in working with people back then, and she had that really great project management skill already, so it helped us a lot. But she also knew how to work with people. But she had a lot of experience. It was not easy for her to learn editing in source, but she learned that, and she showed the rest of her colleagues that it is, oh, sorry, I will slow down, I apologize. So she had to show to her other colleagues that it is possible to edit that it is not that difficult, and that they can improve day by day. So they can continue to learn every day. And she showed them the big community that they were part of. Next slide, please. So we had to write down some of the impacts that we wanted for librarians to have. it was about editing Wikipedia, of course, about editing Wikimedia projects. But we had to show them that they will gain digital literacy that I was telling you about. It is not that easy for especially elderly people to join Wikimedia movement. There is that gap between their technology skills, and maybe they want to edit, they want to participate, but they are not sure how. So we made sure that we have a lot of workshops and a lot of activities where we can show them how to do that. We also wanted to for them to know that their research skills will also improve. When they are writing articles, they have to research a lot of resources, to get a lot of new information, so their research skills would improve as well. When they are improving those two skills, a new career path can open as well. 10 years ago, and even today, but as I'm always repeating 10 years ago, because it was very different back then, it was very unique to show that Wikimedia initiative. To show that you want to participate to free knowledge, that you are standing behind the Wikimedia movement, and you are really eager to present those projects to your colleagues, to the rest of the libraries, to people who are coming to library. It was very, very important. They were also recognized. We wanted them to feel recognized for their contribution to open up knowledge and, of course, digital literacy. So those are the skills that we wanted to improve in librarians, but we also want to build their confidence and their leadership. When you are a part of Wikimedia movement, when you are leading some project, you will have a presentation, you will have workshops, you will have other activities, you will have to improve also your confidence, you will meet a lot of people, which is really also important. Next slide, please. So how did we achieve that? At the beginning, we had a lot of workshops. As I said, we have two founders of the project, but a lot other librarians were involved. First from University Library, where the Alexandra, one of the founder, is, and they had a lot of workshops being held. Two other librarians, and fortunately we were lucky, they are collaborating with many universities, with many faculties in Serbia, so they involved students as well. After a couple of years, National Library of Serbia actually recognized the project and recognized the importance of that. And those workshops were now accredited seminars. So librarians in their official professional development now can do accredited seminar called Wiki Librarian, where we will show them how to edit Wikipedia, Wikimedia Commons. We will teach them a little bit more about digitization, copyrights, Creative Commons licenses, and all of that. So now it is officially a way to professionally develop in Serbia. And also, besides these accredited seminars and workshops, we have a lot of other cooperations with other libraries and other institutions where we show them how they can be part of the Wikimedia movement and how they can contribute to the open knowledge and preserve their and our digital cultural heritage. Next slide, please. So, do we have success stories, and did we achieve those goals that we put at the beginning of the project? What kind of skills did they achieve? And it is easy. I mean, it's easier to bring new people to Wikimedia movement, but how to make them stay? Do we still have people from the beginning of the project? And what are the numbers? You will see now. Next slide, please. So, as we were talking at the beginning, we wanted to improve their skills. When you are part of projects like this, you will, no matter what, enhance digital skills. They were professionally recognized, and they have professional growth. So what does that mean? Some of the librarians are participating in regional conferences, showing the work that they are doing in their libraries around Wikimedia. So they are making articles in science papers around that project. They are showing that contributing to free knowledge is part of their everyday activities now. They made a new community in Serbia, but also regionally with other libraries when they are teaching them how they can contribute to Wikimedia every day. So their network has really, really grown. Also, they got access to resources and support. We always tell people when they edit Wikipedia, for example, you can access Wikipedia library, which is very useful. It has such a great sources for many information, and that is something that you can access only if you edit Wikipedia. They have support from the movement, from the community of editors. They are really, they had really grown their community. Also, the feeling that they are contributing to open knowledge has really got like a really big impact of them. I think the most important thing that they developed is confidence and leadership. Many of those librarians that participated this project are maybe the only ones in their libraries that they participated. They shared with their colleagues what did they learn. We have many of them approaching us after they hear about that seminar, for example, or workshop from their colleagues. So they are taking the first step and they want to be part of our activities as well. Next slide, please. So here are the numbers. We have almost 8,600 new and improved articles on Wikipedia. Most of them are on Serbian Wikipedia, which is really a big number. We have more than 1,250 participants of the project. So 1,250 librarians from Serbia participated editing a Wikipedia workshop or accredited seminar, and they are familiar with the Wikimedia movement. Almost 100 collaborations with libraries behind those seminars and projects was established, and it lasts for 10 years now. So for the end, I would like to show you two examples of our great librarians that we have in this project. Next slide, please. First one is Zoja Krinulović. She's the librarian at the University Library Svetozar Marković. She is part of the project from the beginning. She was not the founder, but now she's the coordinator of the project because founder, she's not working at the library anymore. She participated to many conferences. Her confidence has grown a lot. She had written so many papers about Wiki librarians, and now she's really, most of her everyday activities actually is around Wikipedia and Wikimedia activities. Next slide, please. And we have Žana Gnjatović. She has joined this project in 2019, and she completely fell in love with Wikimedia movement, with editing Wikipedia, and now she's one of the best editors on Serbia Wikipedia. She had also participated to our local conference that we have for Wikipedia editors and Wikimedians in Serbia, but she had also participated to some regional conferences around and telling them about Wikipedia. She now has her own project at her own library called Wiki Senior, and she's teaching elderly people how to edit Wikipedia. And as I said, she's one of the best Wikipedia editors now. So this was the story around wiki librarians, and these are some of the lessons that we learned. So at the beginning, we were not sure about if the project will last. It will have long-term commitment. Some of the librarians were giving up. Editing in source Wikipedia was really difficult for them. So we had that retention problem. It is much better now when we have visual editor and they are continuously editing. Maybe they do not edit every day, but when they see something that they would like to change, they know how to do that and they are doing that. We had a lack of understanding at the beginning from the community of editors on Serbian Wikipedia. They were unsure on why those many librarians are joining us, what they are doing. They are not doing it correctly. They were a little bit angry when librarians were making mistakes because, of course, they were making mistakes, but they learned how to edit really well. We had a problem with access to technology. Not a lot of libraries have great equipment. Not a lot of libraries 10 years ago, and not a lot of libraries now have, for example, computer for for every librarian. So we had a trouble with equipment. That's why we have projects and we have possibility to give them, for example, laptop for one period of time, for some project, for some activities. So we tried to change that. And of course, as I said, we had different levels of digital literacy around editors. Some of them were not familiar with using a computer at all. So we teach them and we had to make sure that they know how to use computer now. And we really worked on that a lot. And lastly, they were resistant to change. So it was very difficult for them to change from paper to digital, but most of them were successful and most of them continue editing and continue participating in our project. I'm looking forward to any questions, but I'm now giving the mic to other sharers. Thank you.
Thank you, Gorana, for your insightful presentation. So I think at this point we'll take questions or we do another round of introduction. Okay, I think we go to the next presenters, Bobby, Shabangu, and Ingrid Thomson. Please, you have the mic.
Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, Justice. And thank you for everyone for inviting us to this learning clinic. My name is Bobby. Maybe let me give you, let me ask for the next slide. So I'm not by myself, I'm with Ingrid, but she's gonna introduce herself. I'm from Wikimedia South Africa, which is a registered not-for-profit organization or company. And we are a chapter that is affiliated to the Wikimedia Foundation, which was established in 2012. And I am currently the president of the chapter. And I spend most of my time in the chapter on governance issues, administration, and having fun actually editing Wikipedia, which how I was introduced to the movement. I'm going to hand over to Ingrid to introduce herself as well.
Okay, hi everyone. So I've been editing since 2014. At least I signed up in 2014 and then had, as I'm sure others have had, some sort of run-ins and kind of then stayed away until 2018. so when the One Lib One Ref campaign came along, and I attended Wikimedia in Cape Town, I was very inspired. Felix, as those of you who know Felix was very persuasive, and I put my hand up and said, fine, let me try and run this here in South Africa. I'm a librarian, academic librarian, and so much of what Gorana was saying resonated. I mean, absolutely resonates. But I spend most of my time in the chapter again on governance issues, admin, editing, but mostly on advocacy in the library sector and educating in the library sector and certainly in the academic field, trying to get the academics on board, because yes, there is that attitude towards, still that attitude, the suspicion about Wikipedia. So there's a lot of advocacy that has to happen, and that's more my strength than rather the editing. So okay, yeah, that's that from me. So I guess we'll move to the next slide.
So how do we define professional development? First of all, what I'd like to say here, please next slide. What I'd like to say here is we are here, colleagues, to actually learn from you. And we are also here to impart knowledge of what we've learned over the years. And we shall try as much as possible to be as practical as possible. And how do we define professional development? It is a continuous process of acquiring new skills. That's what we've discovered over the years. Whether these are soft skills or major skills, we did discover over the years since we've joined the Wikimedia movement that there are those soft skills that one acquires, and then there are those major skills that one acquires. This also includes knowledge, from other colleagues, and the experience to enhance the career growth path and personal development. Basically, what you have learned here in the movement, you are able to now all of a sudden apply, out there in your professional development. And we are going to be sharing, some of those, giving you some of those practical example of some of the skills that we've actually learned from, being in the movement, and we were able to apply them in our professional setting. Ingrid, do you want to say something?
It's just as Bobby is saying, it's sharing those learned skills and passing it on to others, because I mean, in the end, we as individuals are part of the movement, but we are the movement. If we're not here, the movement has to carry on. So we've got to pass the skills on. We have that responsibility to bring new people into the movement so that it can continue to grow.
Next slide, please. So one thing that is crazy, as we were discussing about what to talk about, what to present here, we then realize with Ingrid that automatically, when you join the movement, you automatically or unconsciously become an activist. All of a sudden, you find yourself advocating for digital inclusion, women's rights, increasing of African content, library activation, as we've heard from Gorana. And there are many other areas where we find ourselves, being activists. Now we are automatically or sometimes unconsciously advocating on. I'm going to allow you, Ingrid, to come in again.
Okay, I mean, obviously, yes. For me, the library activation is really good. I'm sorry about the background noise. I mean, we've been involved now with what is called the SWIP project, which is the Satellite Wikipedia South Africa and PanSALP project, where we are promoting, trying to get an increase in contributions in the presence of languages of the South African indigenous languages, and that's becoming activists for that.
Yes, and we are also involved in a project called the Copyright Amendment Act. All of a sudden, we find ourselves, being activists and pushing the Copyright Amendment Act to be passed, because in South Africa, we do not have freedom of panorama. We worked with other stakeholders to write a letter to the president and to basically to our government, and that letter now is a bill. It's waiting for it to be signed by the president so that it can be an act. Next slide, please.
Okay, this is my slide, and hopefully I'm again sorry about the noise. Yeah. Okay, hopefully it should quieten down. So we're going to talking about soft skills. So soft skills can be defined as those sets of general traits, skills, not specific to any jobs. And what we identified was about project management was actually a very important skill. Time management, communication, teamwork, adaptability, that works, that you can transfer from within Wikipedia or in your either work life. You can come in with these skills, or you can learn them with practice and share with others. So things like the community outreach, organizing those meetups, finding the venues, marketing, advocacy, promoting those meetups, thinking about the budget and the programs, and setting that up, but working with a team to do it, because it's not about Ingrid or Bobby or Douglas or any other individual board member or any other individual volunteer doing this. We're all in this together. And then there are, as part of that, the improved interpersonal skills. So again, as we've listed there, skill to persuade, skill to negotiate. It's very important that you come in, you don't necessarily need to come in with this, but you need to be prepared to learn, and to take these on and to develop those skills. I'm handing over to Bobby for the last item, for the coding skills.
Yeah,
we were talking about source editing.
Exactly. I think someone is actually touched on this, that CSS and HTML coding, and I can also here include video and photo editing, something some other people, they come in the movement, they do not know anything, about any type of editing, but they find themselves having now to learn these types of skills. I think we've spoken about this. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk quickly, because we're running out of time, about major skills. Now, as a Wikipedian, you find yourself having to conceptualize projects, writing concept notes, writing a grant application. You came in the movement just to edit Wikipedia. You joined a community. All of a sudden, you have to now write a grant application with budget breakdowns, with timelines of your project. You have to draft policy document and how to manage that funding and maintain professional relationship with partners. Very, very much important. This is something that I personally had to learn, where I had to go out there and, reach out to partners, find out, what do they want, look for mission aligned partners and know how to talk the language. and this really has contributed very, very much into my personal and professional development. You're going to have to also organize conferences and events with partners, including Wikimedia, WikiIndaba. Now we are organizing WikiIndaba. One Lib, One Ref. Ingrid has also spoken about that, and then the sweep, and then report writing as well. And very, very much important, hire and manage staff. Now you're going to have to learn to be HR and, interview people. All of those are skills that you need to learn, as well as drafting legal and contracts document, as well as MOUs. Next slide. Ingrid.
Okay, yeah, challenges, and I must say, very similar to what Gorana was saying about libraries. I mean, there's the lack of capacity, getting to not knowing how Wikipedia works, for example. And then when the bulk of the work falls on the shoulders of a small group of people, there's burnout. You can't, it's not sustainable. There needs to be a balance, obviously, between personal life, and I want to add in their work life as well. For many of us, we are volunteers. I mean, I myself work for an institution. I mean, my employer, I have a responsibility to my employer. I have a responsibility to my family as well. So there's a balance that needs to come into it. Yeah, feeling less appreciated because admin work takes more time, and often when you are it's not about the edits. It's not about the edits, the number of edits. It's great, yeah, 500 edits, 600 edits, but actually the admin is the kind of backbone that keeps things going. And if you don't have that right, well, you can have 500 edits, but you need the support. With the many partners, I mean, there's often, I mean, we do suffer from a lack of volunteers. So enough volunteers, and trying to bring new people into the movement, and then getting them to stay is something else. That needs to be worked on. Projects are often not completed, and volunteers are left hanging. So which is a lack of motivating factor. And again, that also comes down to admin, but it comes down to the energies of the people involved. And then, yes, limited local infrastructure and local support is also a problem, can be a problem. Yeah. Next challenge, next.
So over the years, we've had some lessons that we've learned, which we think are key in order for us to share with you here. As Ingrid has said, a great Wikipedian with a lot of edits does not automatically make a great administrator. This skill has to be learned. And it's not everyone that is interested in governance. And we've seen this, especially within the African community, where they say, please comment on strategic document like the APP. And you find out that there are few people that are actually commenting on such kind of documents. So we need to be intentional in bringing volunteers with those skills, and we need to identify potential skills. And we've seen this in the movement, especially here in the African continent, where you can see that this person, yes, they are a Wikipedian, but you can identify them, that this person, they can be a leader of a community and actually do all of the governance. We also need to hire service providers. Where you do not know colleagues, please hire service providers. We in the Wikimedia South African chapter have bookkeepers and we have auditors, because we are not there, you know, in those in editing. I mean, in bookkeeping and auditing. So we have those types of skills that complements what we are doing in the chapter. And one very much important thing, as I said when I'm starting with this presentation, that we here also to learn. You are never too old to learn. You just have to open your mind and continuously learn. Your work is centered around partners, colleagues. Nothing that you can achieve in the Wikimedia movement without partners. Very, very much important. These are some of the things that we've learned. Next slide.
Okay, thank you.
Over to you, Justice.
Hi, thank you, Bobby and Ingrid, for your insightful presentation. So now we hand over to Jose to hear from him.
Hola, hola a todos, todas, todos por allá. Un gusto estar acá con ustedes en esta ocasión. Esta presentación va a ser en español. Creemos desde México que es muy importante también poner muy claro nuestro idioma, ¿no? Entonces, antes de comenzar, quiero agradecer al equipo de Let's Connect por la invitación, principalmente a Giovanna y a Sailesh por considerarme en este espacio. Agradezco también mucho a nuestros compañeros, a Bobby, a Ingrid y también a Gorana por todo el trabajo que ustedes han realizado, ¿no? Me siento muy feliz de estar acá con ustedes porque me permite hablar por muchas personas que forman parte de lo que estamos creando desde Wikimedia México, que es un programa de educación que justo se está pensando en esta forma de espiral, ¿no? Creemos que los procesos van en forma de espiral, no todo es totalmente lineal, ¿no? Justo ahorita tanto Bobby, Ingrid y Gorana lo mencionaban, ¿no? Los procesos no son lineales, son complicados, y creo que también parte importante de esto son darle continuidad y mantenerse fuerte y segura en ese sentido, ¿no? Nosotros desde Wikimedia México, personalmente yo creo mucho en el tema de soy porque somos, Bobby lo mencionaba, ¿no? Es muy importante creer y crear alianzas importantes en las cuales nosotras y nosotros podamos sostenernos, ¿no? Creemos muy importante el sentido de pertenencia, entonces es muy importante, ¿no? Esto hace que los retos que se vayan presentando en el camino sean todavía aún más ligeros, entonces es muy importante hablar justo de todas las personas que conforman parte del movimiento, ¿no? Siguiente, por favor, next slide, please. Gracias. El día de hoy vamos a hablar de algunos casos de éxito. Cuando me invitaron a la mente me vinieron muchos casos, ¿no? Hoy día, ahorita también ustedes lo van a ir observando conforme vayan pasando las diapositivas. Hay muchos casos de éxito, ¿no? Yo como coordinador del programa de educación, creo importante hablar del programa porque es una parte fundamental de todo lo que hemos creado. Posteriormente también hablar de un ejemplo como es un curso en línea que se llama Edita Wikipedia con una de las universidades más importantes del país y también a nivel internacional que se llama la UNAM. Y por último, un proyecto educativo que fue el proyecto educativo que tanto Sailesh como Giovanna me compartieron mediante un correo que estaría lindo compartir. Next slide, please. Next, please. Gracias. El contexto es muy importante hablar del contexto. ¿Por qué? Porque justo en el contexto hay que hablar de los procesos, ¿no? Durante las presentaciones pasadas nos hemos dado cuenta que son proyectos que llevan años trabajándose, años impulsándose. Entonces, desde México podemos hablar que este programa de educación nace desde 2011, que es cuando Wikimedia México nace en realidad. Entonces, es muy importante ver cómo va funcionando, ¿no? Orana por ahí también lo mencionaba en la idea de que son procesos que se van avanzando, son metodologías que se van implementando. En este camino hay muchos errores, evidentemente. Otra fecha importante va a ser 2019, que es cuando Wikimedia México por fin llega a tener un staff, el cual soy parte hoy día de este staff, y es a partir de 2019 hasta hoy día que se encuentra funcionando el programa de educación, ¿no? Subrayo dos partes importantes dentro de esta presentación, que es formación y acompañamiento de comunidades educativas. Hablamos de comunidades educativas y hablamos de no solo alumnas y alumnas, no solo hablamos de docentes, hablamos de personas que se encuentran en direcciones, administraciones, encontramos a investigadores, investigadoras, encontramos también a bibliotecarios y bibliotecarias, personas que se encargan de la gestión de la información. Entonces, hay muchas personas detrás de, ¿no? No solo hablamos en ocasiones de docentes, que también es parte importante porque nos permite abrir una gran puerta, una gran ventana a todo este mundo que también se encuentra, ¿no? Uno de los objetivos, el objetivo principal que tiene el programa es contribuir en la formación y acompañamiento de comunidades educativas en la sociedad del conocimiento libre. Esto lo hacemos mediante la construcción y creación de procesos de enseñanza-aprendizaje. Un poco lo mencionaba Bobby en la presentación pasada. Decía que no solo es aprender, ¿no? Es aprender en conjunto, ¿no? Así como yo estoy aprendiendo de ustedes, ustedes están aprendiendo a mí y viceversa, ¿no? Son estos procesos que vamos generando, ¿no? Entonces, buscamos siempre que este tipo de prácticas nos ayuden a seguir mejorando lo que estamos haciendo en nuestros contextos, ¿no? Next, please. Y ahora sí, vamos con el punto número uno, que es el programa de educación que estamos en esta ocasión trabajando, coordinando. Estos son algunos de los objetivos, perdón, que principalmente vamos a elaborar, ¿no? Por un momento trabajamos el uso educativo de Wikipedia y los proyectos Wikimedia dentro del aula. Hoy día tenemos una modalidad híbrida, podemos trabajar a distancia o de manera presencial. Y esto también es muy importante porque ahora que pasemos a la diapositiva donde hablamos de la metodología, nosotras y nosotros trabajamos a partir del contexto del programa curricular que llegan a tener las y los docencias o las universidades, en este caso, instituciones educativas, y justo lo que hacemos es tratar de situarlo, ¿no? Si alguien me dice, oye, ¿sabes qué? Yo tengo un proyecto, pero me gustaría trabajar con fotografías, pues perfectamente podemos nosotras recurrir a Wikimedia Commons, ¿no? O si me dices, ¿sabes qué? Estoy trabajando un proyecto sobre literatura, perfectamente podemos acercarnos a todo lo que es Wikiquote, ¿no? Entonces, a partir nosotras de poder ver cómo funciona y cómo podemos promover esto, vamos presentando cada uno de los proyectos que llega a tener la Fundación. Wikipedia va a ser el proyecto importante y de cajón, pero la idea es esa, ¿no? Mostrar qué otros proyectos se pueden llegar a tener, ¿no? Parte importante también del éxito que llega a tener el programa de educación es el acompañamiento que llega a tener siempre en todas las comunidades, ¿no? Acompañamiento y seguimiento en todo momento. Entonces siempre estamos apoyando, acercándonos, preguntando, ver qué más podemos hacer nosotras y nosotros desde este lado, ¿no? Cosa importante, también parte de los objetivos es fortalecer una red de educadores. Hoy día tenemos a más de 70 personas en un chat de Telegram en el cual estamos constantemente compartiendo información, compartiendo dudas, preguntas, comentarios sobre lo que está sucediendo, ¿no? Entonces va a ser muy importante esto. Y también como último, hoy día ya no lo llevamos tanto porque ya también tenemos un área que se encarga de la parte cultural, que es BAM, que es consolidar comunidades bibliotecarias, universitarias y escolares, ¿no? Entonces hoy día trabajamos a la par, pero ya no se encuentra tan presente en nuestra área. Siguiente, por favor, next, please. Hablamos también, y creo que también es muy importante justo esto, esta idea del registro que estamos haciendo y la huella que estamos dejando en el mundo, ¿no? Hablamos de una cartografía educativa que estamos viviendo en el país. Hoy día nuestro programa desde 2019 cuenta con 119 programas en nuestro dashboard como tal. Es un programa que justo busca siempre impulsar, 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 ¿no? Empezamos a hacer toda la formación y hoy día queremos que las personas que ya se encuentran dentro del programa educativo sean también estas personas que generen semilleros, pequeños semilleros que se vayan generando en todo el país, ¿no? Hablar de México es un país enorme, ¿no? Hoy día tenemos más de 50 alianzas educativas, tenemos en diferentes partes, trabajamos diferentes niveles, entonces es interesante ver todo el trabajo que se ha logrado a partir de esto, ¿no? Uno pensaría, bueno, 119 programas, ¿no? Pero son 119 programas cada uno con un contexto, cada uno con ciertos requerimientos. Entonces va a ser muy importante mencionar todo el trabajo que estamos haciendo. Parte también de mostrar esta cartografía es mostrar el registro que estamos haciendo desde Wikimedia México, ¿no? Es decir, México está presente y aquí tenemos un programa que se sustenta a partir de tantos programas, tantos cursos, tantos talleres, tantas charlas. Esto va a ser muy importante también y que siempre nosotras y nosotros estamos en la mejor disposición de colaborar, ya sea internamente hablando en el país, regional, globalmente. Entonces, siempre va a ser un gusto poder acompañarles, apoyar y viceversa, ¿no? Aprender también de ustedes. Next, please. Y ahora sí, nuestra metodología de trabajo parte siempre de momentos didácticos, que es parte fundamental de todo lo que implica la pedagogía. Como me presentaba Sailesh al principio, yo soy pedagogo, entonces creo fielmente que la educación puede ser una llave que transforme el mundo. Entonces, a partir de estos momentos didácticos, nosotras y nosotros nos damos cuenta qué es lo que podemos hacer, ¿no? Son 5 pasos importantes los que se llegan a considerar. En un primer momento tenemos una reunión diagnóstico. Esto nos permite conocer qué ideas, qué conocimientos tienen las personas con las que vamos a colaborar, ¿no? Si alguien me dice, a mí me gustaría trabajar temas sobre biología, sobre geografía, nosotros podemos ver cómo vamos enfocando ese trabajo, ¿no? Me puede decir, yo cuento con 4 sesiones. En esas 4 sesiones perfectamente vamos desarrollando todo el proyecto. Pero esta primera sesión es muy importante, porque a partir de eso podemos compartir ideas y esas ideas se conforman en un proyecto educativo. Posteriormente viene el paso número 2, que es la planeación. A partir de ya sabemos cuántas sesiones vamos a tener consideradas, vamos desarrollando el proyecto. Pongamos un ejemplo. Si nosotros trabajamos el tema, no sé, con alguien que está estudiando geografía o una materia relacionada a la geografía, lo que nosotras y nosotros podríamos hacer es esto, ¿no? Es decir, la primera sesión que tendremos es una charla sobre Wikipedia. La segunda sesión va a ser un taller de formación sobre Wikipedia, sobre cómo integrar referencias, supongamos. Y la tercera sesión es una idea de publicación y retroalimentación, ¿no? Todo esto va después en el tercer punto, que ya es el desarrollo. En el proceso también va a ser muy importante mencionarlo. No todo sale como quisiéramos, ¿no? Aquello termina moviéndose de una gran manera en la cual nosotros nos adecuamos a ello, ¿no? A partir de la reunión diagnóstico, la planeación, el desarrollo, viene la cuarta parte, que es la evaluación, o también como nosotros queremos llamarlo, valoración del proyecto. Pedimos a las personas que nos apoyen valorando qué es lo que está pasando, qué hicimos bien, qué hicimos mal, para que a partir de ese proyecto nosotras podamos hacer una retroalimentación y poder nutrir de nueva cuenta, ¿no? Creemos importante que estos 4 pasos, 5, al final del día con la retroalimentación, nos ayudan a entender un poquito más de qué van nuestras comunidades y cómo podemos nosotras encaminar el proyecto como tal. Entonces, posteriormente, en algún momento de la vida, vamos a generar un documento que nos permita poder tenerlo en Wikimedia Commons para que también le ayude a más personas a desarrollarlo. Claramente aquí encontramos sobre algunos puntos, la idea es desglosarlo de una mejor manera. La siguiente, por favor. Next, please. El segundo proyecto también va a ser muy importante porque justo así como estamos nosotras hablando de cómo podemos desbloquear el potencial, este proyecto se sitúa principalmente con las docencias. Como les comentamos, creemos fielmente que los docentes también es una parte importante de todo este cúmulo, ¿no? No solo son alumnos, son personas, ¿no? Son todas las personas que conforman, ¿no? Fue un curso en línea que se tituló Edita Wikipedia. Este curso es una alianza con la Coordinación de Universidad Abierta y Educación Digital de la UNAM, y hoy día tiene 5 ediciones del curso y hoy día son más de 100 docentes universitarios, ¿no? Entonces, la idea de este curso fue mostrarle a las personas, ¿no? Porque por ahí no recuerdo quién lo mencionaba, creo que Ingrid mencionaba la idea de de las sospechas sobre que tenemos de Wikipedia, ¿no? Entonces, parte mucho también de esto, porque nosotros nos hemos preguntado, ¿quién dijo o quién mencionó que Wikipedia no era una buena herramienta para el aula, ¿no? Para las cuestiones académicas. Nos ponemos a pensar, dialogamos y principalmente es una constante repetición. Wikipedia no, Wikipedia no. Entonces, en ese sentido, el curso en línea ayuda mucho a mostrarle a las docencias por qué es importante hablar de Wikipedia, ¿no? Porque es importante entrarle también a Wikipedia, ¿no? Wikipedia y los otros proyectos en realidad. Entonces también va a ser muy importante que este tipo de cursos nos ayude a avanzar, ¿no? Es un curso que se celebra en 4 semanas, es una modalidad híbrida de igual manera, es presencial y tenemos algunas sesiones, perdón, es a distancia y tenemos algunas sesiones presenciales, las cuales nos ayudan también a resolver dudas y preguntas con relación a ello, ¿no? Y también, cosa importante, nos ayuda a conocer a las personas, porque también es muy lindo vernos como ahora lo estamos haciendo a través de una camarita, pero es más lindo vernos a las personas compartiendo, dialogando, reflexionando también sobre nuestras mismas prácticas, ¿no? Siguiente, por favor. Next, please. Gracias. Tenemos que viene la parte importante de lo que hicimos. Como les comento, fueron 4 sesiones. En esas 4 semanas, perdón, y 4 sesiones trabajamos estos contenidos, ¿no? El primer, los 5 pilares de Wikipedia y la comunidad wikipedista, que también es muy importante conocer el detrás de quiénes son, porque en ocasiones la gente piensa que son máquinas lo que están creando, ¿no? O piensan que a la gente se les paga por editar Wikipedia. Y es como conocer a todas las personas que hay detrás de este mundo, ¿no? Que son muchísimas y muy variadas, ¿no? Hay una diversidad hermosa dentro del movimiento. Tenemos los proyectos Wikimedia, que también es mostrarles el alcance que llega a tener, no solo es editar Wikipedia, ¿no? Tenemos Wikimedia Commons, tenemos Wikiviajes, Wikisource, etcétera, 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 ¿no? Posteriormente tenemos también el tema de la cultura libre, ¿no? No podemos dejar de lado, ¿no? Al hablar de Wikipedia hablamos de otros muchos temas alrededor hablamos de Internet, hablamos de temas de alfabetización, tecnologías colaborativas, hablamos de la cultura libre, ¿qué implica la cultura libre dentro del movimiento, ¿no? Y por último tenemos Wikipedia en el aula. Una vez que hacemos todo este paso, este repaso de talleres, de ejercicios, de sesiones, lo que pedimos a las personas es que ellas y ellas puedan generar un proyecto educativo situado directamente en su asignatura. Decir, ¿sabes qué? Yo como profesor de matemáticas creo que mis alumnos pueden y empezamos a generar ideas. Entonces, eso va a ser muy importante. De este lado, la presentación se las dejo un enlace de YouTube. Si a ustedes les gusta ver TikToks, pueden encontrar aquí a personas que hicimos un par de TikToks compartiendo gran parte de la comunidad de Wikimedia México para mostrar a las personas qué estaba pasando con Wikipedia, ¿no? Este es un pequeño captura de pantalla, un screenshot sobre qué fue lo que implicó, ¿no? Porque a pesar de que fue todo un trabajo en línea, hicimos mucho trabajo detrás de. Pero eso para que también ustedes puedan verlo, ya nos dirán si bailamos bien o no bailamos bien, entonces agradecemos mucho siempre esa retroalimentación. Pasamos a la siguiente, por favor. Next slide, please. Y hablamos del tercer proyecto. Este tercer proyecto es un proyecto que se llama Wikitech. Una de las alianzas también importantes que llegamos hoy día en México es el TEC de Monterrey. Es una alianza que empieza desde 2020, casi a principios de pandemia en México, y empezamos con algunas sedes, ¿no? Principalmente con el TEC de Monterrey en Querétaro. Hoy día ya son varios TECs los que se están generando. Es una universidad privada e importante en México que ayuda también mucho al desarrollo profesional que llegan a tener las y los alumnos, ¿no? En varias ocasiones hemos colaborado con ellas y con ellos en el sentido de ver qué tanto nosotras y nosotros podemos hacer, ¿no? Parte importante de justo este potenciar las habilidades que llegan a tener las personas, parten tanto del servicio social como de las prácticas profesionales, ¿no? Es un requerimiento en México muy importante para que uno pueda titularse en ocasiones, ¿no? Te hacen todo un proceso administrativo en el cual tú tienes que participar también para compartir y hacer algo con relación a lo que tú estás estudiando, ¿no? Entonces, nosotras mostramos el impacto que puede llegar a tener Wikipedia, ¿no? Entonces, es muy bonito. Yo sé que también ustedes lo han visto, esa sonrisa después de publicar un artículo, de publicar una referencia, de subir una imagen y ver que algo está arriba, es este agradecimiento constante con las y los alumnos, ¿no? De ver esa carita, de decir, estoy creando algo, ¿no? A pesar de que ellos y ellas son creadores de información, de contenido, cuando se meten a este tipo de proyectos es interesante ver cómo funcionan, ¿no? Algunos de los proyectos que hemos trabajado con esta institución, Wikipedia, es un proyecto que va siempre, siempre presente. Wikimedia Commons, Wikidata, Wikisource, Wikiviajes y Wikinoticias. Entonces, este tipo de abanico de proyectos nos permite mostrar todos los beneficios que pueden llegar a tener, ¿no? Teníamos alumnos que estaban estudiando comunicación y al conocer el proyecto de Wikinoticias fue increíble porque es como de, bueno, yo sé que las noticias y los periódicos diarios que se encuentran en mi estado son relevantes, pero yo también puedo aportar algo a partir de ello, ¿no? Ya que ellos llegan a tener esta formación y estas habilidades también para poder hacer un tema de redacción, hacer un tema de registro fotográfico, etcétera, etcétera, ¿no? Entonces también va a ser muy importante mostrar todo esto y ver cómo ellos y ellas pueden generarlo, ¿no? Vamos a la siguiente, por favor. Next slide, please. Aquí encontramos algunos testimonios de las personas que han colaborado con nosotros. Voy a leer solo uno de ellos también para no agobiar y seguir fluyendo en la sesión. Y aquí dice, ha generado en mí un sentido de responsabilidad, ya que los datos compartidos serán vistos por un grupo de personas que desean conocer más acerca de lo que les rodea. Por lo tanto, es importante proporcionarles un recurso fundamental. Estos tres son algunos de los testimonios que vivimos de algunas personas que han colaborado. Por acá tenemos una fotito de las últimas personitas que trabajaron y colaboraron en el servicio social. Tenemos a 3 docentes, tenemos a 2 bibliotecarias y tenemos a alumnas y alumnas que han colaborado constantemente con nosotras. Entonces es muy importante entender también eso. Son personas que ya van saliendo, ya se van a enfrentar al mundo laboral y justo la idea es esa, ¿no? Ver que otros proyectos son posibles en esta realidad, ¿no? Eso va a ser también muy importante. Siguiente, por favor. Next, please. Muchas gracias. Y justo hablando ya temas puntuales, hablando del desarrollo profesional, qué es lo que implica, concuerdo totalmente con lo que Gorana, Bobby y Ingrid comparten. También es muy importante hablar de los contextos. Creo que es relevante mencionar qué es lo que está trabajando cada área del mundo, cada latitud que estamos viviendo. Y por eso es que nosotras desde este lado nos hemos percatado de algunas cosas importantes, ¿no? ¿Qué nos permite o cómo se potencia directamente el desarrollo profesional? Pues básicamente tejiendo comunidades, ¿no? Las comunidades van a ser fundamentales para todo este proyecto. Creo que algo muy importante de lo que vivimos justo en el día a día es ver cómo más personas se van sumando al movimiento, ¿no? Y cómo estas personas van entretejiendo estas pequeñas redes para seguir colaborando, ¿no? Hoy día tenemos esta fortuna de que Let's Connect nos permita compartir, dialogar, reflexionar sobre esto y por eso es que la imagen que coloco es esta, ¿no? Todavía hay algunas caritas que faltan por incluirse, pero cuando terminen de juntarse aquello va a ser una estructura y una red muy, muy bonita, ¿no? ¿Qué nos permite también explorar e imaginar otros mundos? ¿Por qué? Porque justo al hablar de Wikipedia y los proyectos Wikimedia es totalmente en ocasiones decimos en México es como un iceberg, ¿no? Solo vemos la pequeña punta, pero debajo hay un gran mundo en el cual nosotras y nosotros podemos explorar, ¿no? Podemos trabajar temas de imágenes, podemos trabajar cuestiones escritas, etcétera, etcétera. Entonces nos permite ver de qué otras maneras podemos ir imaginando otros mundos, ¿no? Sin duda alguna también impulsa la creatividad, es algo muy importante, ¿no? Porque a pesar de que al principio hay ciertas restricciones de decir Wikipedia no o los proyectos de la fundación no, nosotras vemos cómo podemos seguir aportando, ¿no? Entonces, esta creatividad va a ser fundamental para que nosotras podamos generar y seguir participando activamente en los proyectos, o no activamente, pero seguir estando presente, ¿no? El tema de la alfabetización digital, nosotros sabemos, va a ser fundamental. En ocasiones damos por hecho de que principalmente yo que trabajo con comunidades estudiantiles, ya saben usar la computadora, ya saben ocupar el tema de internet, etcétera, etcétera, pues evidentemente no. Entonces es un constante trabajo que estamos haciendo en cuestión de redacción, en cuestión de lectura, en cuestión de escritura, en cuestión de habilidades digitales que se van apareciendo, ¿no? Entonces también va a ser muy importante seguir teniendo muy presente el tema de la alfabetización digital. Y por último, el pensamiento crítico y argumentativo. Creemos muy importante también esto, ¿no? Al momento de que estamos conociendo otra parte de cómo se está creando el conocimiento, es muy importante argumentar dentro de los mismos, ¿no? Nos hemos dado cuenta y sabemos cómo funciona Wikipedia, ¿no? Tiene una pequeña pestaña que habla de la discusión. Es muy importante también entrarle ahí, ¿no? Porque también caso personal desde México y también yo creo que en otros contextos pasa lo mismo, pues se sufre mucho constantemente con la cuestión del borrado de los artículos y de cómo nosotros podemos lidiar con las comunidades. Entonces, si nosotras y nosotros le damos las herramientas a las personas que participan dentro de nuestros proyectos, creemos muy importante que esto puede enriquecer todo el movimiento y también a las personas que participan. Entonces, eso también va a ser muy relevante. Vamos a la siguiente, por favor. Next, please. Como comento, al principio yo hablo de un soy porque somos. Aquí encontramos a una comunidad muy bonita. Apenas se reunió en el último encuentro Wikieducación, que fue el quinto encuentro, y Eduardo Galeano, uno de los grandes escritores latinoamericanos, dice, mucha gente pequeña, en lugares pequeñas, haciendo cosas pequeñas, pueden cambiar el mundo. Creo que nosotras, las personas que nos encontramos reunidas acá, las personas con las que trabajamos, estamos generando y tratando de cambiar el mundo. Entonces, por ahí tenemos una W, que siempre es la señal que nos está sosteniendo y apoyando en todo momento, ¿no? Siguiente, por favor. Next, please. Por acá encontramos las redes sociales. Muchas gracias también por la escucha, muchas gracias siempre por el espacio. Acá tenemos también las redes sociales de Wikimedia México, tenemos mi user en Wikipedia, en la fundación, y solo como para agregar un extra a todo esto que estamos dialogando, desde Wikimedia México también estamos trabajando mucho otras formas de potenciar estas habilidades, ¿no? Tenemos hoy día una escuela de mujeres wikipedistas que se está desarrollando en la tercera edición, y también tenemos un diplomado internacional con Flaxo que se titula Procesos políticos de política pública en sociedades digitales. Entonces siempre estamos buscando de qué manera seguir impulsando estos proyectos, ¿no? Agradezco de nueva cuenta todo el apoyo, el espacio, y pues acá estamos por cualquier duda o pregunta que se tenga. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Jose, for your presentation. I think now we segue into the Q&A session. I think we'll pass the mic to Sailesh to take it.
Sorry, it's
Thanks,
actually
sisters. Joan. Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead,
Joan. All right,
it's
sure.
okay. So yeah, I will handle now the Q&A part. Before that, I just wanted to thank Gorana, Bobby, Ingrid, José for amazing presentations, complex presentations. And it's really, it's really powerful to see all the work that has been done in this area. And it's also exciting because this is just the part one of this clinic. We'll have a part two. So and it's already like a rich, complex set of initiatives that we are seeing. So thank you so much for participating. And to open our Q&A question, I actually prepared some questions for you in advance. So Gorana, I have one for you, I have one for Bobby and Ingrid, and I have one for Alejandro, for José Alejandro. And so Gorana, I want to know from you, during this the 10 years that this project has been happening, what do you think is the biggest impact that has caused it, if you can choose just one? I know that you mentioned some impacts that it has accomplished, but I want you to select just one and highlight that one for us, because maybe people can be inspired by that. And I also want to know from you, what are the plans for the next 10 years? If this is not too much of a question.
Thank you, Joanna, and thank you all for listening, but also to my dear colleagues for presenting. It was wonderful hearing your examples, and I think we all learned a lot. So the answer for the first question is, I think, word being spread about free knowledge. And I think that we have made a big change in Serbia around that. Because during those accredited seminars, workshops, working with librarians, students, and other partners from cultural institutions, knowledge about free knowledge about Wikimedia movement, about Wikimedia project is being spread. And I think that is the most important thing. Answer to the second question, about our plans. We were actually in September, we will have like a grand call for where Wiki Librarian will also apply. And we were talking on our meeting like 2 weeks ago that we want to do more, that we want to do better, that we want to improve, because we achieved many goals and now we want to do more. So I hope that during our next 10 years, we will reach out to more librarians. We will have a better retention of the people who were editing Wikimedia project, for example, for once or twice and then gave up. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to even bigger impact on other libraries and other cultural institutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gorana. In the meantime, please, if you can, all the participants here, add questions for Gorana, Bobby, Ingrid, or José Alejandro in the Jamboard, please do, or in the chat. We will also copy that to the Jamboard. And while you are thinking and writing your questions, I have one more question for Bobby and Ingrid. So what has been the biggest challenge of offering continued professional development? I want to highlight like this part of continuous, right? What is the challenge with that? I believe it's difficult to maintain that aspect, right? And I also wanted to know from you if there is a way the Wikimedia projects can support you and the chapter in achieving this better, even better.
Thanks for that question, Giovanna. The biggest challenge of offering the continuity professional development in Wikimedia South Africa has really been the lack of capacity. We have Wikipedians, we are composed of Wikipedians who are volunteers in the chapter, and volunteers tend to do things in their own time. They don't, yes, you know, we are here to volunteer, we want to do and push the needle so that things can be done, but we are working, you know, in timelines that are set. Say, for an example, right now, as I speak, there is a report that we need to write and submit, you know, of the previous financial year. But you can go, you sometimes will go to Wikipedians and say, hey guys, can you please bring the, you know, write a report of the activities that you've done. You find out that they do not write that report. So that prevents us from you know, continuing with that professional development. And the other thing, before I hand to Ingrid, is we have learned, and we did not share this here, we have learned that it is important to have a structure and ask people, why did they want to sit in the board? Why do they want to be part of the Wikimedia chapter? It's very, very, very much important, because you find out that, yes, they come, they have huge edits, you know, that they can show you. But when it comes to the actual doing of the work, they are just sitting there and they don't do anything. Ingrid, would you like to add?
Yes, so I'm just going to wear a librarian's hat with the One Lib, One Ref campaign. I am a member of the Library and Information Association of South Africa, and this is a professional. They award a professional designation to librarians. So I have, if you look at my signature, my work signature, email signature, it says Ingrid Thomson, PL, that's professional librarian, Liasa. And you have to acquire a certain, to maintain that status, you have to acquire a certain number of CPD points. So I think it's something like 20 over a 3-year cycle. So what we did I approached them with the One Lib, One Ref campaign, and this thank you was an idea that was sparked by AFLIA's African Librarians Week, where they were awarding certificates and prizes to those who had the most edits. And I thought, okay, this is going to be one way to get those professional librarians involved. I mean, One Lib, One Ref, do 25 edits and you get 1 CPD point. And Liasa was on board with that. Yeah. And in the end, it turned out that very few people participated, got CPD points, but they have continued. Liasa has continued to offer those CPD points. It's again trying to get people on board. Trying to get people to add content or to add a citation, which for heaven's sake is part of librarians' work. I mean, we are chasing sources. We are doing research. It's not something out of in some other realm. So we tried this year with a Wiki Loves South African Libraries campaign. There's very little on South African libraries on Wikipedia. And we went, okay, low-hanging fruit, because, you know, in the end, when you've added something, there's an accomplishment. You've done something. So it was as simple as adding your library or adding a library to the list of South African libraries on Wikipedia. It didn't really work. There was a small number of people who came on board. Again, yeah, it is a challenge. It is a challenge. But with LIASA, the Library Association, on board, at least there is that tantalizing reward of getting CPD points, but it hasn't been that much of a attractive award. We're going to probably have to do a lot more marketing and advocacy and promoting. But there is that they have at least then come on board with that. So you know, sort of that's official CPD recognition for contributing to LIASA, contributing to Wikipedia through the One Lib, One Ref campaign. Yeah, I don't know if that helps or
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ingrid, for answering our question. The last question that I prepared, and then we will move to the questions from the participants. So the last one is for you, José. What do you think is the biggest positive change of the work of Wikimedia Mexico has done in this area? And what would have done more differently if you could?
Y muchas gracias, yo. Creo que hemos hecho muy bien la formación de comunidades y la diversidad de propuestas y proyectos que se han generado. Creo que es algo que hemos hecho bastante y se ha trabajado con las personas, ¿no? Como comentaba durante la presentación, el trabajo con personas creo que es fundamental para lo que estamos haciendo y cómo lo estamos tratando de proyectar. Entonces, siempre que trabajamos proyectos, pensamos en cómo las personas podrían acercarse y apropiarse de ellos, que también es muy importante, ¿no? Entonces, quizás nos encantaría que más personas se sumaran. No sé, pensando, hacemos un proyecto de 30 personas y pensaríamos, bueno, 20 personas van a quedarse en el proyecto, ¿no? Pero al final sabemos que de estas 30 se van a quedar 5, pero con esas 5 personas podemos hacer cosas maravillosas, ¿no? Entonces creo que desde Wikimedia México el impulsar comunidades educativas y el mantenerlas presentes creo que es fundamental, ¿no? Y personalmente, ¿qué me gustaría hacer? Me gustaría hacer muchas cosas, ¿no? Sé que hay una infinidad de mundos y en ocasiones lo que nos llega a faltar es tiempo, ¿no? Y estas formas de seguir colaborando. Entonces, es algo que yo tengo ahí en el tintero, que está muy presente y que esperemos pronto se pueda seguir generando, ¿no? Y también es una invitación para, pues, seguir colaborando entre todas y todos, ¿no? Queremos ver qué más se puede hacer tanto regionalmente como globalmente. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, José. I'm passing the mic to Sailesh, who asked the questions from the participants that are on the Jamboard. If you are a participant and you really agree with one of the questions and you really want to highlight that question, you can also add a reaction if you want to the question. Sailesh?
Thanks, Joanna, for having those questions. And it seems like it also is a questions prepared to set up for our workshop that is coming up in the next 10 minutes. So, we are very excited to have that workshop as well. Now, we're going to ask a few questions that our participants have asked. Gorana, there's a question for you, but I guess you've tried to answer it in the chat, but would you like to reread it? And I can read the question for you as well. How did you manage to work with groups of students? Did you organize courses in universities? If you did, could you share some examples of syllabi?
Thank you,
Thanks.
Silas. Thank you for the question. We actually have two ways of working with students. As I said in the chat, one is through educational program, which is, I think, very successful at Wikimedia Serbia, not to brag, but it's very good. And we have a lot of workshops there. So we make cooperation directly with the faculty. We are working with one or two professors there. And by working with them, we organize a workshop at the faculty. So it's like their regular class, but we have editing Wikipedia workshop. And one interesting thing around that is that in the last few years, we started having, like, instead of them writing some papers to get additional scores for their final score at the subject, they write article on Wikipedia. And it showed that that is actually very good for them, because they feel very proud when they see their article published on Wikipedia. They feel more useful than writing like a regular article that will probably stay in the professor's office for who knows how many years. So it is shown as a good practice. The second way is through Wikilibrarian project, because coordinators of Wikilibrarian is University Library in Belgrade, and they have cooperation with many faculties, and many students have mandatory practice while they are studying, and they have to go to University Library to have some practice, to go to some workshops, to learn more about if they want to be, for example, librarians. So it is mandatory for them. And we have workshops with them as well about editing Wikipedia. So more of the work with students is being done through educational program, but many of the work is being done through Wikilibrarians. And one interesting thing is that even people on their students on their master studies and on some postgraduate degrees studies, are coming to our workshops, and it is shown to be very useful for them. And if you have more questions around students or anything else, please let me know.
Thanks. Yes, you can reach out to Gorana. Gorana, thanks for answering that question. If you also have like some links that people could find helpful to understand like what the course contains, that would be very, very helpful. We are almost at time to end this part of the session, but I know like there are two questions, so I'll be quick. There's a second question that is for Ingrid. Ingrid, in your experience, did the university libraries provide a gate towards creating wiki editing courses?
Okay, so like Gorana is saying, I mean, the university library, certainly where I am, they don't actually have much of a choice, do they? I mean, I come in along, but again, it depends on the university library itself. At my own institution, I work again very closely with my faculty. I am a subject librarian for a number of areas, and I work with those faculty, and we have set up editing courses, or where they've included editing, creating of articles, for example, on South African film, where there wasn't very much information. The students ran into a source problem because there are not many sources related to early South African film, for example. So there were challenges there, but there are a number of faculties that have started to include editing in their as part of their assignments. And we actually saw interest again from, I mean, Bobby and I were at another institution earlier last week, and they were also the academics who had attended the training session were also interested in incorporating writing assignments. They could see the value. They could see what the students would get out of it, and also, open knowledge, the free knowledge. They subscribe to that. It's again, I know there's a lot of work that has to be done with librarians in the country, not just public librarians, but with academic librarians. I certainly do sessions for our local library school on Wikipedia, and they've been, they've been talking about using it for information literacy, etc., etc., etc. But it's challenging, but there are some success stories. And with SWIP, as I'm sure Bobby will say, he's done a number of visited quite a number of institutions, academic higher education institutions running the editing, and I'm sure that certainly has been a conversation where academics are looking to see how they can incorporate editing into their assignments, and that's come out of those workshops.
Thanks, Ingrid. This is really like an interesting insight that you have provided to us. I also think this information literacy is a topic that is coming up in terms of the libraries quite a few times, because last time when we also did like a Let's Connect, we didn't do a Let's Connect, we did an office hours for One Live, One Live. This was one of the topics that came up a lot. Especially like a resources or skill that is required on working on the information literacy. This is something that we can definitely work on in the future. I've been getting a lot of messages for sticking to the time. Sorry if we have gone over time with this question and answer. There's a last question. I'm not going to ask this. I'm not sure if it's like a direct question to Alejandro, but my colleague Melissa is here. If there are resources available on Wikilearn that can help people on getting some of these skills, you can answer Melissa on the chat if they're available. But again, thanks everyone for participating in this question and answer part of the session. Now we are going to move forward to the workshop. Joanna, my colleague, had set up our a momentum for us to take a deep dive into these questions. So back to you, Joanna.
Thank you so much, Sailesh. So I know that we have not a lot of time, but it's okay. This part of the clinic, the idea is that now that we watched all the presentations, reflected about the presentations in the form of questions, now we are gonna reflect as a community here and try to answer those questions. And I ask that both participants and speakers please try and answer those questions. So the first question that we have here is, what professional development means to you? I know that some of the speakers already answered that in their presentations, but the idea is here that we are going to document this so that we can use this as a reference for work in the future, right? And if you can answer this question and also add 2 thumbs up for select 2 ideas and give it a thumbs up from this column, so that we know the ones that stick to people a little bit more than the others. It's not a competition, but just so that we know what is in people's mind. I'll give you a few minutes, maybe 2 minutes for this one. And by the way, you can answer it in your own language as well. You don't need to answer in English. I believe the 2 minutes they have passed. So I see here great examples, and I will highlight two that they seem to be the ones that people voted the most. So developing capacities that are useful for your professional careers, and also acquire skills and experience that can be shown to employers. I think this is, very important, especially in terms of certifications, which is the last question that we have here. That we have seen community members say that they have participated in a lot of events, trainings, and they understand how that can be really important for them, but also to their employers. And certification can be a very good way to, in fact, use that to be recognizable by the employer when they are looking at the training, the experience that community member is going through. So thank you so much for answering that question. The next one that we have, is what could we improve to ensure we properly address professional development in the Wikimedia movement? So this is the place that we want to hear from you, like what we can do better, what we can improve to ensure that this particular topic is well done and enhanced in the Wikimedia movement overall. So 2 minutes more for that one. Just FYI, don't be shy in saying negative things or where we could improve. We want to hear it. Please just say what you think, what is on your mind.
Yeah, Cassie.
Hi, I think because of time, I think it'd be really sweet to hear that maybe read the comments out loud. And then we can close out so that we don't keep our sharers and participants here longer, but just to hear out loud what our participants, everyone has said in the questions in the retro board, I think would be really sweet to hear right now.
Yeah, awesome, no problem. While I am reading what is here, please also answer the fourth and last question, which is what type of recognition, badge, or certificates would best work for you and your context regarding professional development and growth. So for the third question, we see here that people are requesting more clinics such as this one, where so people already in the movement can learn how to implement projects that focus on their professional development. And two other suggestions here that got the same amount of votes: target professional development initiatives according to specific economic sectors, industries, knowledge areas, economies. And this specific comment, it really, I think it really resonates with me, because we see that usually, for example, when we have examples such as the WikiLearn one, which was the most voted one from the first column here, usually those are examples that are customized to a specific topic, right? So like, for example, there is the Open Refine courses. There are courses like we see sometimes in the community, also courses dedicated to Christian heritage. So that kind of customization to a certain topic, I think it is a good direction. I agree very much with this one. And also we see Promote Wiki projects as a valuable work for the private sector that can be recognized professionally. And yes, a +1 to that as well. For the last column, I see here that we have one suggestion that was very well voted. So a certification of recognition or of skills acquired to be added to your LinkedIn profile. And I think that's, LinkedIn is where professional development our professional networks and contacts they are. So it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think
Thanks everyone
yeah.
Thanks, Joanna, for leading this workshop, and thanks everyone for adding your valuable inputs to the board, Easy Retro board. We will keep this board open for another 24 hours, and we'll share it in the Telegram channel of the Let's Connect group. And so looking forward to get some more responses to this, but thank you again, and I'll pass the mic back to Justice.
Thank you, Gorana and Silas, for your conversations and questions and answer session. So now, like we all do, we would want to hear from you about what this session meant to you. Also, what your honest review of the session was. So in the chat, there's a Mentimeter link that links you to a set of questions. We would like for as many people to answer that question as much as possible, so that we can learn more and get to understand how we can serve you better as Let's Connect participants or members as well. After you are done that, as you all might know by now, we shared a Let's Connect survey, evaluation survey, last week, seeking to pick your mind on what Let's Connect is doing over the last 12 months. So please kindly take the survey and let us know what you think about Let's Connect, and also help us to improve Let's Connect for the coming year as well. So you can find the survey link in the chat as well. So after you are done with the Mentimeter, you can move on to the survey. That should take approximately 10 to 15 minutes to be able to answer. It's very easy to answer as well. We sent an emails on them last week, but then since you are here, it'll be best to also get to hear from you directly after the learning to get to understand what you all think as well. Thank you. At this point, we can now say our various goodbyes. And thanks once again to the sharers, Bobby, Gorana, Ingrid, and José, for giving us a great presentation. And to Giovanna and Salesh from the foundation for making sure that this learning clinic was possible. And to my colleague, Let's Connect working group members for always making sure that we stay on top of our game. To Cassie for making sure we are all on point. Thank you all to the participants across the various regions that you joined us from. Without your support and constantly joining this learning clinic, we won't be here and Let's Connect wouldn't be doing what we are doing now. So we are truly grateful. Share the survey with your community. This is a peer learning opportunity. So we expect you to also go back and share some of the learnings with your community as well. Thank you all. Bye-bye for now.